welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we're here. It's preseason week number 2.
Dos.
We're just a couple of weeks from the NFL season actually starting.
I know. I could taste it in my blood. Oh, I got tickets to the Saints game today.
Are you tasting your blood? It's
Mhm.
weird. Congratulations.
Yeah.
When is that game? That's the first game, right?
That's November something.
Oh, okay.
The Saints, we play home. I'm not going to New Orleans.
Okay. Well, either way, it would be fun.
Yeah.
New Orleans would be fun. All right. Well, good. Thank you for that update, Jerry. Just real quick, as the season kind of gets closer to starting, we just ask that you guys, tell a friend if you like the show, hit that subscribe button and like the video, leave a comment. We appreciate it. We're going to try to start doing some new and fun and exciting things here. And to talk a little bit about that, Jerry, over to you.
Yes, we are going to attempt. I'm going to say attempt because if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, guys. I'm sorry. We are going to go live on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Live Panthers game recap. I know it's, the next day, but we want to try to work on this. So maybe during the season we can do after the game recaps. We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to give it a shot.
We're
Give it a shot, see how it goes.
We're learning. I mean, hey, we've learned a lot in our 5 years. I think it's 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, I think 5, I believe. We started the year before Matt Rule was hired, right? We started the last Ron Rivera season.
Well, I thought it was the year before that because I remember us covering the Tepper buying the team.
Tepper bought the team the year before. So he had 1 year with Rivera.
Yeah, I remember that.
Rivera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so either way, that's where we are. Maybe it was the year before. I don't know. We'll have to go back and look. This is something easily discoverable. So we will, if it matters that much, we can tell you guys later. But but this will be the first time that we're going to go live. So that will be interesting and fun. And hopefully you guys aren't too mean to us because it could be the last time we go live.
Yeah.
If you are. So be nice. We are going to talk about, let's start with some actually really encouraging developments here. The Panthers had their first inter-squad practice today with another team. It was with the Jets, same as last year, but I guess we just really like practicing with the Jets.
I think what they did is a 1-and-1. Like 1 year we go there, 1 year they come here.
Well, they were here last year too.
I thought they went up there last year, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
Nah, you might be right. Either way, they're here again. Or they're here with us practicing this year. And today went really well for the Panthers. Today was probably the best practice reports that I've seen, just straight across the board, maybe since Bryce Young got here, right? I mean, everybody was looking great. I mean, we had Bryce Young throwing touchdowns all over the place. Terrace Marshall catching multiple touchdowns. Jonathan Mingo looking great. David Moore making some plays. We had Tevin Wallace on defense making an interception. I think Rodgers was picked off twice in this game, or in this practice. But we just had the offense was firing on all cylinders. The defense looked good. The blocking looked good. Robert Hunt was holding his own until he got a little nicked up, but came back and seems to be okay. So just today really gave me a lot of confidence. First play of the practice, Bryce Young goes deep. Didn't connect with Mingo, but showed that, hey, this is what we're looking at, right? You guys are going to have to guard the entire field. And I really was impressed with what I saw and heard today. And it makes me really more optimistic than I've been thus far.
Okay. I've heard some negatives now. Now, I believe
from
Bryce...
today's practice?
Yeah, I heard Bryce was picked off.
No, he wasn't picked off.
I thought that he got picked off late in the scrimmage.
My understanding
Andy Dalton
is he did not
tossed
get
a
picked
couple
off.
touchdowns against our defense. But overall, I heard it was really good practice. I heard that again, like you said, the O-line kind of held its own, and that's something that
Hmm.
last year that didn't happen. I do remember that. I saw a video of Icky pancaking a edge rusher. It was kind of funny. I mean, not for that guy, but you know.
Yep, yep.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There was quite a few little nicks and stuff today. Do we want to continue talking about
Yeah, well, I
today's?
mean, yeah, so there was a couple of dust ups, right,
Yeah,
on one of the Terrace Marshall touchdown
and
receptions,
he threw the ball at
threw the
the
ball at the
corner,
defender.
DJ Reed.
Yep, and they kind of went at each other a little bit. What? Now, Canales called it a stupid football play,
Mm-hmm.
right? I love it.
I know.
As in a practice, screw those guys. Go at them. Show some fire. Like I love it. In a game, no, I don't love it in a game. But in a practice, I don't care. Go at them. I
I
love it.
have no problem pounding your chest, screaming at the guy, but throwing the ball, I don't like throwing the ball at somebody. Like beating your chest, squawking, doing a Superman. I'm all for all that,
Hmm.
especially in practice. But I just throwing the ball just feels like it's crossing a line of. Now he may have spiked the ball and it bounced up and hit him. I didn't see the video that well, but I don't like throwing the ball at another player. That just feels wrong to me. Unless you're a quarterback throwing the ball to like.
Jerry, I think you need to get over it. It's not. I wouldn't. I mean,
I
was
no,
it
I'm not like.
disrespectful? I think it was disrespectful, and I think that was the point. I think obviously they've probably been jawing all day at each other. Terrace Marshall got the better of him a couple of times in the practice. It seems like for touchdowns. Uh, I like it. I think it shows some fire, something sorely that has been missed from this Panthers team over the last several years. Can you can you tell me a time when a player has like gone at another defender
Deontay Foreman 2 years
after
ago.
get,
That was the last time, to be
okay,
honest with
so
you.
that's a couple years. Like I just feel like there's just something a little different. It feels like right now.
I agree. I do think that this team does feel a little bit more energetic, and that could be rubbing off from the head coach, who is very energetic.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I just don't like throwing the ball. I have no other problems. I'm happy with the scrimmage for the most part and everything. Excuse me, I'm just struggling
Yeah.
over here. But
I think you're just not excited enough. I
I'm
think
not.
this is the best practice of the season by far. Bryce looked the best he's looked by far in any practice. And that is being said by multiple people.
So,
I couldn't be more excited about today.
so do you think? I'm just. Do you think it's facing the Jets that the Jets defense may have been different, or it's just that our defense seems to have been picking up on Bryce's abilities, or our defenses may just be a top 10 defense on a level playing field when they're not, trailing the whole time.
I don't know. I mean, it's the first time that this system has been deployed against a team that is not in the building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Bryce felt like he needed to step up, especially after the last couple of days where apparently the offense has been a little down. Um, that felt like they needed to prove something. They wanted, these guys are coming into our place and they wanted to shut them down, and they did. They looked really good against the Jets, a team that many are saying, is a playoff team with Rodgers as long as he stays healthy. They've got stars all over the field, and a lot of those stars were out there today. Now they didn't have everybody out there, the Jets, but they most of their starters were playing, and the Panthers held their own against them. And sure, it's a practice. I understand that, but it's as close as we're going to get to a game with these starters out there until the regular season, right? Because
It
they're
hasn't
probably
been
not
named
going to
yet.
play a lot of preseason.
I
They're
was
they're
gonna
going to play
say,
some, but they're probably not going to play a lot.
yeah. I was gonna say Dave Canales came out afterwards saying that he was unsure about the. He already has something in his mind, but he wants to look at the tape before
Yeah,
he says something. And that's fine. I get that. I don't think we'll see the starters. If we do, it'll be like one series.
yeah,
But
and I think I'd be happy with one series,
but
honestly.
with the injury concerns, especially to the O line, I could see them again. If you have injury concerns along your O line, and we saw the depth that this O line has, I wouldn't want Bryce out there right now, anyways. With a backup O line.
I agree. Yeah, if you're not going to have Hunt, Icky, Moten, Christensen, or not Christensen, Corkett.
Damian Lewis.
Well, I'm assuming Damian Lewis is probably not going to be
Yeah, that's what
playing.
I was
But
getting
if you
leading
got
into
all
it.
the rest of them, if you got all the rest of them, I'd be okay with Bryce out there for a series or two. Um, but if you're missing more than just Damian Lewis, then yeah, I would say you want to have Bryce kind of sit. But yeah, I mean, either way, it seemed really encouraging what we saw. I hope that we see it again tomorrow. Out of this team again, that they don't kind of rest on their laurels and let the Jets, who I'm sure are going to be hungry to look a lot better in this game or in this practice. I keep saying game in this practice. Um, I just hope the Panthers do well, but not, as we kind of transition into some other news here, not everything was positive, Jerry. It came away, unfortunately, with some injuries that we'll discuss now.
Yeah, starting off with Damian Lewis, he was in uniform today, but limited in practice. He's getting over a personal, exception that he was gone
Mm.
for. So we don't know if he'll play on Saturday. I mean, he may not. But Chandler Zavala has a hamstring and seems like it could be a long issue. I mean, and he had a good game, and Dave Canales said he was having a great camp. So we
Yeah.
had a lot of high hopes with him last year. A guy that really struggled. Maybe a new coordinator was helping him out, and unfortunately, this is going to take him out for a while.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a real setback for him because, we talked about PFF grades the last week, and just from everything that we saw, he was not a problem
No,
last week. Like and that's a high praise
for that
for the
O
way
line,
the
anyone
way
on
he
that
looked,
O line that
right,
played.
and from the way he looked last year, right?
Hmm.
Because last year he looked like he may not even get another season in the NFL. Like he was that bad. I think he had a 0 PFF rating one week.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So that is really unfortunate. And, again, a position that we've talked about where we just don't have a lot of depth. We like our starters, but we don't have a lot behind them. So, another spot here, Jerry, that we don't have a lot behind our starters is cornerback.
Oh, I was gonna stick with the other one with Robert Hunt.
Well, right, okay. So we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. Robert Hunt was carted off,
Yeah,
right? But was able to walk back onto the field, told Canales he was okay.
he
So it
wanted to
seems
continue
like, yeah,
practice.
yeah. Seems like we dodged a bullet there, but that can you imagine, man? That would have been devastating.
Yeah,
That would have
Robert
been
Hunt. Oh man,
but maybe just as devastating, Jerry. I'm going to go now to the defense.
yes.
Um, we did unfortunately get some news that Dane Jackson, starting corner, is likely out for 6 weeks, which
Yeah.
would put him about a month into the season before he's ready to come back to practice. Like he may not even be ready for a game by then. But that's tough. That's a big one.
So if anybody here has Stephen Gilmore's family's address, please send them
Mm-hmm.
flowers, a little Panthers love notes. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, come up the street. Come on,
You
man,
see him at
please.
Bojangles, let him know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean that could be the outcome of this, though, right? Because
I hope so.
as we've discussed many, many times on this podcast, not a lot behind those guys. Uh, and sticking with DBs, we got another one, Jerry.
Yes. Xavier Woods has a groin injury and will probably miss some time. Not sure exactly how long right now. But Xavier Woods has played so good. I know safety is a deeper depth
Mm-hmm.
than we had in the past, but he played
But
really well last year.
yeah, and when you remove him from that equation, the depth all of a sudden doesn't look nearly as good,
No.
right? I saw 2 to 3 weeks for him, so it's possible he's ready by week one. Just kind of depends on how he responds. But this one doesn't seem like quite as long of an injury recovery than Dane Jackson, but still, um, This one, I don't feel the pressure to go out and get another safety. You know what I'm saying? Like I do with a corner,
Mm-hmm.
but we already felt that way with corner. So
Yeah.
like this doesn't really. This just exceeds the
Expedites it.
urgency, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
There is one more. Chuba Hubbard got
Mm.
tangled up after a big hit between him and I can't remember the defender's name. Uh, it was supposedly a nasty sounding looking hit, but Canales said it was a clean hit, not a dirty play. And it looks like Chuba avoided serious injury on his knee. It looks like his knee kind of buckled when he took the
Yeah.
hit. So, good news is that he seems all right.
Yeah, yeah. Supposedly he slipped or something, and that's what made the hit look worse than it was, or it was meant to be. But that apparently led to another scuffle as well. So a couple times these teams kind of getting into it this game, but or this practice. I keep saying game. I'm just gonna keep saying game. I don't care. Um, but yeah, Chuba again, another position where with Brooks already missing the first.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he's gonna go on pup probably missing the first 6 games. Miles Sanders, the way he looked last year, you know, if you lose Chuba, then again, you're just in really rough shape.
At least at the beginning of the season. I will
Yeah.
say that Miles Sanders supposedly has looked really good lately in camp as well. That
Hmm.
I heard some beat writers say I can't. I need to start writing down the beat writers' names.
Yeah.
Said that basically it looks like he's trying to prove himself again. And there's
Yeah.
also rumors that Dallas Cowboys are watching the Carolinas running back room quite closely for him.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some big running backs that have actually gone down over
Yeah.
the last few days. That it's possible that Sanders could get moved, but honestly, if he can play like he played, or even 90% of the way he played in Philly that last year, man, I'd just keep him on the team
Yeah.
because that's a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, Canales has said he wants to run the ball. He wants to be a run first
Hmm.
type of team. But so, and honestly, that makes the most sense for me. I mean, with
Yeah.
this team right now, yeah,
Well, yeah, you're gonna. I mean, that's just gonna open up so much more of the offense if they can run the ball
hmm
well, right? I mean, it opens up play action, which gives Bryce a lot more options and time, which is what he needs, right? So that, yeah, I'm glad she was not hurt. So, all right, I think that's all the injuries, right?
uh, there's probably a couple other guys we didn't mention that's
Yeah, that
down on
may
the
have
depth
gotten
chart,
banged
but
up a little bit, but
yeah,
yeah. Those are the main guys, and luckily, it seems like outside of Dane Jackson, kind of avoided the worst. So keep our fingers crossed and hope that we do that next week too, or
yeah.
next practice too. All right, what's next, Jerry?
We're gonna take a look at training camp battles, just where we are. Just we've been keeping track since training camp started. Wide receiver 3, Xavier Leggett versus the field. Again, Mingo has this, I think, in the bag, and less
Yeah,
Leggett. Speaking of Leggett, I mean, he's trying to work himself back in since the
yeah,
injuries. So
yeah. He
I hope I
practiced.
do see him Saturday, at least for a few snaps.
Yeah, if he's ready, he practiced. I know he came back to practice a couple days ago, so hoping that he is good enough to where he could go out there and give you a couple of series. But yeah, I mean, he Mingo has looked better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of also just talking about wide receiver, Terrace Marshall really put on a show today and kind of showed his ceiling. Right, he showed what he can be if he could just get there. So I wonder if another couple of practices like this or a good showing in a preseason game guarantees his spot on the roster.
Yeah, I mean he that was his thing coming out of college. It was in
Yeah,
injuries and he hasn't been able to put it together and he had the physical tools.
yeah,
So maybe I hope so. Canales was a wide receiver coach at one point too. So
yeah,
maybe he's like, "Hey, this isn't your strong suit. Do this and this." You know what I mean? Like, let's
yeah,
make routes and stuff to your strengths because that's what he said when he got here and
yep.
I'm hoping that's true.
And forgot to mention, but Deontay Johnson did sit out today with like I heard a groin issue, but it doesn't seem to be serious, so he may be back out there tomorrow. I'm not sure, but just something to mention. So you got Johnson, Thielen, Mingo for sure, right?
Mhm.
Leggett for sure. David Moore seems like is going to make the team. He's a really good special teams player, and just being out there as a wide receiver. So that's five. Amir Smith Marset, we're thinking probably makes the team,
Well, see,
right?
that's the thing is I wouldn't be shocked. It would shock me if David Moore and Smith Marset both make the team.
Well, they give you different skill sets on special teams. Like
I get
Moore,
that, but
Moore's
I,
more of a gun, a gunner, and supposedly a very good one, and an experienced wide receiver. So, but Smith Marset is your returner
mm-hmm.
and kind of a part-time receiver.
And a
So
gadget player that we don't have, and I think having that type of player can. But again,
I
I
agree.
mean,
I think Smith Marset makes the team. I want him to make the team. Yeah.
so I'm sitting at like 4 guaranteed, and I think Smith Marset or David Moore, and then you got, you know,
Well, that makes
Terrace.
it easy for Terrace Marshall then. Like if because you probably keeping six, I
That
would
would be my
imagine.
guess. I
Yeah.
honestly, I don't think you need 2 guys because I think Terrace could also help out in the special teams. He's not the returner or anything, but
Yeah. But David Moore's a very good special teams player. And not as a returner, just a very good special teams player. Um, but I think that last spot comes down to those two guys. I think it's either going to be Moore or Marshall because I
oh,
think they
okay,
keep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I, sorry, I wasn't putting Moore at five, like ranking them, but
okay.
I think it comes down to those two guys. So that's an interesting battle to watch. I think that's kind of where the wide receiver battle is transitioned, is kind of towards that back end there, because it seems like, as you said, Mingo's almost locked that spot down now.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's definitely on the roster. I'll say that. I mean, those
Yeah.
4 guys are on the roster.
Oh yeah.
I think those last 3 guys are fighting for the 2 spots.
Yeah. Agreed.
Um,
Um, yeah. Our next one here is, unfortunately, we don't have that much of an update on this one. The tight end spot, Tremble and Thomas are still out with injuries. I didn't hear a ton about Sanders or Matthews today, so I'm not sure how
th-
involved they were. They may not have been in the game plan that much today.
I'm really disappointed in this camp battle. Can I say that? I was really, really
Yeah,
hoping to hear one of these guys pop off.
yeah.
And
Well, Matthews has been the one. I mean, he's not even on this list, but he's been the one that's popped off the most.
uh, the most in the preseason, yes. I
Yeah,
mean, I didn't hear him really having a great camp, but I mean, I didn't hear anything from any of these tight ends that often. So,
yeah. You see, a highlight catch from Sanders here and there, but gosh, I don't know why I'm coughing. I'm sorry. Um, Trimble and Thomas, they've just been hurt, most of the time, and then Matthews showed out in the game. So, yeah, that one. I guess we'll just have to come back to that one at some point.
we'll just come back to it during the season.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll probably come back to this next one later too, right?
Yeah, at quarterback number 2, Lamar Jackson is now, I would assume, this penciled in at the starting. I mean, I can look at the depth chart, I guess.
It could be just Deshaun Jameson. I think played most of the time after Dane Jackson left today,
Uh,
and apparently played well at times, played poorly at times as well. So, um, I think it's got to be Mister not on the roster right now
that
as
has
that
to be.
as that cornerback too. I don't see any other way.
I like Lamar Jackson the way he played in the preseason game.
Mhm.
Um, but no, man. Sorry, Lamar Jackson. I don't trust you starting this season. I don't want. We said this before the injury. Now it's just more of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
capital. When is
right.
J.C. Horns gonna go? You're gonna look at Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Jameson and Troy Hill out there as your cornerbacks.
Uh, got to do something. Got to do something, Dan. Um, all right. Well, we'll move on to the next one here. Edge rusher number three. I've got Chase on, DJ Johnson, Amari Barno, Leota, Tay Davis. It seemed like Johnson was kind of the one that has been stepping up the most. That's one thing I didn't look too much into today with this practice was the defensive line. So I can't say how they did today, but given the fact that Rogers threw a couple of interceptions, I'd imagine that they were getting some pressure.
Yeah, I think DJ Johnson has a lead. I'm a little surprised Leota didn't catch him
Hmm.
a little bit. after the game because he was just standing out in my eyes during the preseason.
Yeah,
So
not a name we've heard a ton of in camp, but really stepped out in the game. So he might be number two. Chason had a couple of moments in the game
yeah,
as well.
and he has that first round pedigree
Yeah,
where
he's got
he
the
has the
pedigree.
abilities. I mean,
Yep, still very young. Yeah, so this is one to keep an eye on.
all right, moving on.
Yeah, we got running back listed next. I think that one again is kind of sewn up with Chuba in the lead, Sanders right there, and then Brooks when he comes back will just be really interesting.
Hmm.
And then I think Blackshear's got that last spot locked up. I mean, he didn't play in the game at all last week. Healthy scratch. I think that says a lot about where he is.
Yeah, and I also heard that they were playing Mike Boone a lot
Hmm.
in training camp recently, and the rumor slash thought is either he's a guy that they may want to try to stash on the
Practice
practice
squad.
squad, or if they do make the move with Sanders, that they have
Mm,
somebody that they believe in,
okay.
not believe in as could be a backup, not the main guy.
or just get him that opportunity, right,
Yeah,
to earn it. Yeah,
correct.
that's interesting. I like that theory. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of him this week in the game as well.
Yep. All right, let's head down because our time is running out. To training camp confidence stock. So basically, we've been going over the confidence level that we had. Starting off with Bryce Young, 3.5, 3.5 in week 1, 3.5 in week 2, and in week 3, I'm willing to give him up to a 4.0 just because of the simple. He had a really good game practice against his opponent.
Yeah, agreed. I think four sounds good. Um, this one's going to kind of stay fairly low until we see something in a game.
Yeah. O line is next. 6 week 1, 6 week 2.
I think you got to go six again, right?
I'm gonna go 5, man. Those injuries are starting to creep me out.
Yeah, yeah, but again, nobody's missing any time as of right now, right, in the regular season. So I think we're still on pace
Okay.
here.
We're gonna
So
we're
we'll go
splitting
five
it.
and a half if you want. Yep.
All
Uh,
right, pass rush. We start off week 1, 3, 2.5 in week 2.
Yeah, I think after last week's preseason game and from hearing what I've heard about Clowney in practice,
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go up to a 3.5 this week.
I'll agree with 3.5. I was thinking 3 or 3.5 because
Yeah.
also even though it was a preseason, I thought I saw something. It wasn't world beating, but I
Well,
thought with the
Leota stepped
starters,
up. Yeah, we saw some things, right?
yes,
Yeah. And yeah, I've heard a lot of positive things about Clowney. I was skeptical as to what he would look like in camp, just being that veteran and some of his, the past things that we've heard about him. But supposedly he is looking really good. So
yeah. Next, we have Xavier Leggett, started at a 6, went down to a 5, and I'm giving him an incomplete for week 3. He hasn't practiced. I don't feel like it's reasonable to bring him up or down.
well, so if I say like he's a 5, then what? How do we average that? I think you're
5.
gonna because
I
I
th-
don't agree with an incomplete. I think the injury concern now is a concern to me. And again, he wasn't jumping off the page in camp from what we heard, so I'm gonna stick with the 5.
All right. Terrace Marshall Jr., 1.5 week 1, 2.5 week 2. I'm going to
That's
start on week 3. I'm going to go up to a 4, even with that the one drop pass, because I have been hearing it week or day after day after day, and then today
mhm.
again.
I'm gonna stick at a 3.
Okay.
Um, I can't give him the same number I'm giving Bryce because I feel much, much more confident about Bryce. So
I get that. Okay. I
yeah,
understand
yeah.
your thought process. JC Horn, 6'6".
We're only giving him sixes for one reason, and
Yeah.
that reason hasn't changed to me. So I'm gonna go 6. I'm
Same.
gonna have to go with the sign of the devil here. unfortunately.
Deontay Johnson 7, 6.5. I'm willing to go back up to 7, even though he was a little injured. But I've heard that him and Bryce have really bonded.
Yeah, yeah, they're looking great. I would even maybe consider a 7.5. Yeah, go 7.25 there. I like that.
All right, Ian Thomas 2, then a 4.5. I raised it when you weren't here just because I wanted to mess with you. Uh,
Yeah. I was about to say, how did he get there? Uh, no, I'm going 2 again with him. I mean,
I'm
he
fine with
plays
2.
and now he's hurt. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I'm fine back to 2.
You should have gone higher than that.
I thought it would be too obvious, like when you would saw like.
Yeah, I was already thinking like, I don't understand how you got there. Okay.
I don't remember us going that high.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
All right, Chuba. Chuba started off as a 5.75, then a 5.75 again. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna go 6. Um, I don't know which of us was going lower on this one, but I'm gonna go 6. I think I probably was the lower one. Just because of what I've heard in camp. I mean, he's locked that thing down and he's looked good. Didn't get hurt today, so
yeah, and I also heard he's really been like kind of a leader by
mhm.
example with his play. So
Yeah,
yes, Miles Sanders, 4 week 1, 4.5 week 2. I'm gonna give him a 5 because I have been hearing good things.
yeah. I'm gonna go 5 as well. I think him being one number under Chuba makes sense. That
Hmm.
makes sense to me. All right, overall for the season, we've gone 6.5 both times. Now this isn't the number of games we think we're going to
No,
win.
no,
This
no,
is
no,
just our
no,
confidence scale out of 10.
no.
So I think we stick there, right?
Yeah, I don't think either one of us feel more or less confidence.
Yeah. Yep.
I did not do Jonathan Mingo. I added here as a 5
Okay.
during week 2 since he busted out. I'm gonna stick with a 5.
Yeah, I mean that puts he and Leggett kind of together, and I think we have concerns for different reasons for those guys. So yeah, I agree.
Um, Dave Canales.
Hmm.
This was someone I should have added in the first week. Uh, week last week I ranked him a 7. I just
Ooh.
yeah, he was really under my skin that last week with his talk. So I give him a 7. I'll probably go down to a 6 just because maybe I
Yeah,
was really
7.
hyped up on him.
7 7 feels high for uh what Dave Canales is right now, right? Which is a young first time head
Well,
coach.
it's a confidence level too. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I got you. I got you. I'm gonna say 5, so we can go 5.5 there.
okay,
Um, now I'm optimistic,
yeah,
but confidence, I'm not there yet.
yeah. Um, week. Do we want to take a quick break and be right back?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. I know this is technically the game preview episodes, but like we said, preseason, it's hard to preview something. I think the joint practice will probably give more insight. But
Yeah, for
what are
sure.
you looking forward to in this game?
I mean, I hope we see the starters for a series or two, or a smattering of the starters. I definitely hope we see more than we saw last week, which was nothing. Like we saw no starters.
No starters.
So I hope we see some starters this week. Outside of that, you know, just kind of looking at corner to see if anybody steps up, if Lamar Jackson has another good game, if Troy Hill can do something, and potentially we sign someone between now and then as well. So we'll see what happens there. But what are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to our pass rush again. I
Mhm.
want to keep seeing improvement. The Jets, I don't think, have a top tier O line. They went out and they got Morgan Moses and Tyron
Mhm.
Smith from the Cowboys. I, Now, I don't know if those guys will start or even play. Same with Rodgers. I doubt he starts or plays.
Yeah.
But I want to see our depth pieces, whether it's Clowney's playing or not. I want to see the other guys kind of step up, make some plays in the backfield, kind of like we saw last week. I'm not expecting world beaters, but I want to see something.
Yeah,
So,
and with Leota,
hmm
right? I want to see if he can do another Frankie Louvu impression in a second week in a row.
yeah.
That would be awesome. DJ Johnson again, another guy we talked about. Um, didn't see, I think, what we both hoped that we would see from him last week, right?
I thought I saw a decent amount of him sealing the edge. I saw him making solid plays. I did not see the pass rush, which was obviously nothing that was something he didn't have in college either. Was a premier pass rush. So
Yeah, yeah. But he's in a pass rushing position here,
mm,
so he needs to develop something. So maybe we see something here week 2. Maybe he learned something from that first week. Yeah, I mean, quarterback. If Bryce doesn't play, and then I don't, I'm not really looking forward to that, right? Like
yeah,
to
that
seeing another week of that.
Jack Plummer and Luton
Plummer and
battling it
Luton.
out
Yeah, I'm
for
just not. That's not interesting to me. But maybe some wide receivers can make some good plays on poorly thrown balls. I mean, that would be good to see. I just, the main thing for me is get out of this thing healthy. Don't lose any starters. Let's just play well when you're out there and don't get hurt.
yeah. Another thing I'm looking forward to is our secondary minus Dane Jackson. I'm sure J.C. Horn's not
Hmm.
going to play now because that's just too risky. But I want to see the secondary or the backups go in. I thought Lamar Jackson played pretty well. I thought Boodle
Yeah.
played pretty well last week. Deshaun Jameson obviously stepping up. And the Jets are also having a wide receiver battle themselves. Just, I mean,
Hmm.
they have, oh God, they have Lazard, what was it? Irv Charles and Jason Brownlee. I mean, they're competing out there. Obviously, Wilson won't play either if
Yeah.
Rodgers doesn't, and
Likely. Yeah.
that's fine. If he doesn't play, JC doesn't play. I consider that just a wash on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Jameson. I thought he looked pretty good at times last week. I was kind of impressed with him. So another week of that would be good or an improvement even. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, you know, O line feels solid, D line feels solid in terms of entrenched starters, right? If they don't play a lot, that doesn't concern me overall.
I would like to see Trevin Wallace make a play or two. I keep
Hmm.
hearing about it in camp.
Yeah,
He picked off Aaron Rodgers today.
yeah,
And I've heard him pick up Bryce and other thing. But last week in preseason, I didn't see him. Like I really did not. I was like looking,
yeah.
and
And I think he played 20 something snaps.
I'm actually
Because we
googling it
we
or not googling it. I am
yeah
looking it
we
up right
we
now.
talked about it. Yeah, because that was something that we talked about last week. I remember because I wanted to know how much he played because, like you said, I didn't see a lot of him out there.
It just felt like he disappeared,
Yeah.
and I
I
was
think you said
hoping
it was
to
either
see.
23 or 28 snaps, is what you told me last week.
I am looking at. Fill some time, man. Talk about Sunday at
Uh,
3:30 live.
Sunday at 3:30 live. We're gonna be talking about that football game that we just watched, and you guys are gonna be really nice to us and ask great questions, and we're just looking forward to the interaction, right? And we're gonna hoping that it work technologically it works. Jerry's
Yeah.
running this whole thing, so
Yeah, I kind of have an idea of how it works. We'll
yeah,
see. We'll
yeah,
see.
we'll see. We're not even gonna test it first.
Oh, I am. I am testing it myself by myself. So yes, I will. Okay, I
Okay.
can't find these. I
That's
was
fine. It was like 23 to 33 or something. It was somewhere in between there. It was enough snaps to where you would have hoped to have seen something, right?
correct.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah, I mean that's gonna do it, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Like football is back.
It's back, guys. I mean, a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
NFL fantasy drafts are about to start up. Sign up now. Talking to a
Yeah.
couple guys in our league that needs to sign to the new league, or
We're almost full. Yeah, we're
we're
almost full.
we got a couple guys left.
Maybe one day one year we try to do a meow mix fantasy league. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Not saying we have to do it this year. Not we're not recruiting or anything, but I think
Eh,
that'd be a
let us
fun
know.
thing to
I
think
mean, I
about.
don't mind doing a live draft, another live draft. We just have to get it organized now.
Yeah.
This is how things happen, live on air. All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMixPodcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We will be back at 3:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
to talk about our thoughts. Week 2 of the preseason. Until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.